we are now entering in the last week of fantasy hockey, the week before playoff starts, and you're going to have to make some decisions this week. So you're going to have to decide whether if you're in a playoff spot, if you want to be getting to prep for week 23 and beyond, or if you need to go for it this week and stream a bunch of players to hopefully win out this week and give yourself the best possible position in playoffs, whether it's the 4th seed, 1st seed, or just even making the playoffs in the 8th seed or 6th seed. There's a lot of decisions you're going to have to be making this week. So hopefully this video will give you an understanding of where I'm going to be looking at in terms of streaming players and my strategy for this week. For next week's video, I'm going to be breaking down a night by night breakdown in the first week of playoffs on the players I want to be looking at, the players I want to be streaming, and how to maximize my roster ads. We're looking at potentially doing a couple live streams. So if you're interested in that, let me know in the comment section below. We want to make sure that we're prepping everyone to win their fantasy playoffs, and it all begins with winning out in week 1. We don't want to be the Toronto Maple Leafs and losing in the first round of playoffs. So it's going to be a good one. I'm really excited, guys. My name's Mike, and let's jump into the video. For the best schedule this week, there's going to be 4 teams that will be your best friend for this coming week. So the off nights, March 11th, 13th, 15th, and 17th, having 4 off nights this week means there are going to be teams, as you can see on screen, that will have very favorable schedules. So the Rangers, they're going to be your best friend this week. It's actually one of the first 5-game schedules I've seen in quite a long time. I can't remember, because me and Chris alternate in this video, so I might have missed it on my week, but I can't remember the last time I've seen a 5-game schedule. So the Rangers this week, definitely the top priority target. The only issue is that they're like the Edmonton Oilers, where they have 5 really strong players, and then their depth is usually not really effective 5-on-5 or on the power play or in fantasy in general. So it's going to be hard to pick some streamers from there, but you'll see them later in this video. The Winnipeg Jets, probably the best team possible for this coming week, given they have so many different players that you can stream. A lot of guys under 50% ownership that have power play 1 eligibility, that play really good 5-on-5 minutes and hit and shoot and give you really solid peripherals. And then the LA Kings and the St. Louis Blues have 4 games, 3 games on off nights, still a very favorable schedule. And Joel Hofer of the St. Louis Blues is a goalie I want to be targeting this week. But both teams, again, similar to the Jets, have some players that you can scoop up under 50% rostered that are going to be skating in the top 6 and the top power play unit. And we'll jump into that in a little bit further in this video. Now, these teams will not be your friends this week, but these teams, do not panic if you own any of them. Actually, in the FantasyPuck Atlantic League right now, I own 3 Edmonton Oilers, and this is the problem sometimes with stacking players. So I'm expecting to try and stream players this week to hopefully maximize my roster. But with the Oilers right now and this coming week for the FantasyPuck Patreon League is I'm lucky enough that I won out on Sunday, so I'm going to be making the playoffs in that league right now. But with the Oilers this week, I might be struggling because I have Hyman, Bouchard, and Kane, and I'm going to be losing out on potentially 6 to 8 games because of this 2-game schedule. But never panic. Really weird schedule this week with some teams playing up to 5 games, but there are 5 teams with 2-game schedules, and then 8+ teams that have 3 games and 3 busy nights. You definitely want to just be, So these are the players, the bread and butter of the video, the priority forward streamers. So the first player, Alexis Lafreniere, left wing, right wing eligible, under 50% rostered. You're going to be getting a guy that's skating line 2, power play 2, about 17+ minutes per night with solid shot and hit upside, as well as skating with the top point getter on the Rangers, Artemi Panarin. So like I said, a 5-game schedule this week, 3 games on the off nights on March 11th, 14th, and 17th, and then 2 games on the busy night with March 12th and 16th. There, again, like I mentioned in the intro, and if you skip that part, with the Rangers, there's just not a lot of really good stream players, and Lafreniere seems to be really the only forward options, aside from another player that's going to be named later in this video, that you can really be streaming. Everyone else is just, they don't really play a lot of 5-on-5 minutes. They don't play any power play minutes, and they're not in that big 5 core. But Lafreniere here seems like the best possible stream for this coming week. If you can't get to him, Sean Monahan of the Winnipeg Jets is just center eligible, so keep that in mind if you're in a league with centers. Those busy nights, it's likely you're going to be having centers rostered, but luckily for the Jets, 4 games on the off nights, just 35% rostered, skating on line 2, power play 1. The Jets are fully healthy right now, and they are very, very good. So Monahan becomes my second favorite stream for this week. Nikolai Ehlers of the Winnipeg Jets, someone who's actually slowed down quite a bit, and I wish we saw a full healthy season, and now we finally are, and he hasn't been as good as we've hoped, but still a guy that has a very solid floor because of his hit, or because of his shot upside. He doesn't hit at all, actually. Just left wing eligible, 58% rostered, so he may be owned in those 10 to 12 team leagues. But again, very favorable schedule for this Jets team, and this is the team I want to be prioritizing. Now, if you can't get to any of these guys, Quinton Byfield has triple eligibility, center, left wing, right wing, 46% rostered. He's skating line 1 right now, power play 1, playing well over 20 minutes over his last 5 games. He's going to be a massive sleeper going into next season, but for this week, a very solid stream option with 3 games on the off nights to begin the week. The only problem is sometimes on those very last nights, March 16th and 17th, I like to have guys playing on the Sunday night to really close things out against your opponent and make them make decisions. But because he doesn't play on the 17th, it kind of worries me a bit, but he's a very good start of the week streamer. Then you can start to find guys for later in the week. At the time of recording, just 36% of you are subscribed to the channel, so if you've enjoyed the content so far, make sure you subscribe to stay up to date with all the content that we're going to be pumping out for the rest of the season. In addition, we have updated our projections for the rest of the season. If you're interested in gaining access to that, head on over to our Patreon. The link will be in the description. If you have any questions, make sure you leave a comment in this video or simply message me on Discord. Let's jump back into the video, guys. For the other forward streamers, a little bit more of the deeper league type of players, Jack Roslovic recently traded to the New York Rangers. I thought that was a steal. I actually saw him play live and he scored a hat trick against the Detroit Red Wings when I watched. He's a very good eye test player, but in fantasy, maybe not the best, but still, he's going to be playing line 1 right now with Kreider and Zibanejad. Very, very interesting deployment for him right away with the Rangers. I expect to see about 14 to 16 minutes with the lack of power play time, but still strong playing on the top line. Center, right wing eligible, just 6% rostered. And like I mentioned, a 5-game schedule for them this week, so a very interesting streamer. Alex Iafallo, you get a guy at just 2% rostered that's going to be skating on the top power play unit. Very surprised to not see Nikolai Ehlers there, but maybe they like Iafallo, who usually I think plays net front or in the bumper spot. So a 4-game schedule is 2% roster, and you get a dual eligible left wing, right wing player. Jake Neighbors of the St. Louis Blues, someone that I think, again, will be a sleeper going into next season. Left wing, right wing eligible. You get another guy that's going to be on the top power play unit at just 10% rostered. 3 off nights, including a night on Sunday on the 17th. Something that always intrigues me with players that I'm streaming. Neighbors has been good this year. He scores goals, he shoots the puck, and his deployment's very strong in the St. Louis Blues, who have no competition and are desperate for goal scoring. Lastly, Nino Niederreiter at just 19% rostered. You're getting a guy that's going to be line 3 power play 2, but he plays good minutes and he has very, very solid peripherals. He shoots, hits, and blocks quite a bit. And just right wing eligible and 19% rostered, he should be available. A very solid floor type player. Definitely someone I'm going to be looking to add this week because in competitive leagues, a lot of the players on the first screen were likely owned already. But with Nino Niederreiter, 19% roster in those competitive 12-team leagues, definitely a guy you should be looking to roster. Jumping over now to Defenseman Streamers, and what I like to do is see if we can find a power play 1 defenseman. It's really rare. It's all injury contingent. But with Krug here, he's under 30% rostered. He's a power play 1 defenseman with a very strong schedule this week. Someone that actually has been blocking a lot more this season. His shot volume's up a little bit. And the Blues power play, it hasn't been that good, but as of recent, it's been quite a bit better. For me, he's probably the top defenseman stream just because you're getting exposure to that top power play unit. But he also plays minutes and he also has very strong peripherals. So Krug, for me this week, is the top defenseman streamer, under 50%. Neil Pionk of the Winnipeg Jets is the second defenseman I'd be looking to stream at 53% rostered. If he was power play 1, I think I would have him above Krug, but for right now, because he has the power play 2 exposure, he's still intriguing to me. He's a defenseman that actually hits quite a bit for being a smaller sized guy, as well as he has pretty strong peripherals. Very favorable schedule for the Jets this week. Definitely a player I'd be looking to stream. Now, if you can't get to Krug, you can't get to Pionk, look at Keandre Miller. I'm very surprised to see how high his ownership is still, even though he hasn't been the strongest defenseman this season. He's second in line, and with Jacob Trouba now injured, I don't know the status of his injury right now, but with him injured, Keandre Miller's minutes should only continue to rise to 23 plus per night. With no power play, still playing those 23 plus minutes per night is definitely intriguing for me. And lastly, Matt Roy, a guy that historically has just been a very strong peripheral style defenseman. Doesn't get power play time, but still just 25% roster, a very favorable schedule with the Kings this week. Someone I'd be looking to stream if you want to be getting consistent points each and every night. And my favorite part of the video, so when I'm playing fantasy each week, I'm definitely streaming goalies the most over players. What I'll do is I'll likely just add 1 forward or 1 defenseman, and then I'll be streaming goalies throughout the week, depending on when they're starting. So for example, today, on Sunday the 10th, I just added Semyon Varlamov in a very good matchup against the Anaheim Ducks. each morning around 11:30 p.m. or a.m. Eastern. I'm looking on Twitter, I'm looking on the fantasy app to see which goalies are getting the starts for the night, and I'll be maximizing my roster. We have 4 ads per week. I'll use at least 3 of them for goalies because they're guaranteed positive points in most occasions, unless you're taking a very unfavorable matchup. And most times they're going to be getting you positive points. So this week, I think Quick should likely be the player that you add right away. If he's available on Sunday night and you're winning your matchup, and you should win your matchup, I would be looking to add Quick right now. With the 5-game schedule this week, they have 2 games and they have 2 back-to-back games. The Rangers have been winning out so much right now. Quick's been very good. So I think at under 50% roster, you can likely grab him. Now, it's hard to say when they play. I'm going to assume that he's going to get the start against the Devils on Monday and then the Islanders on Sunday. It's hard for me to tell right now. But still, I'd be looking to add Quick right away on Sunday or very early Monday morning because you're guaranteed at least 2 starts from a goalie on a team that has a very high win percentage. Now, for later in the week, on March 17th, on the Sunday, like I said, I like to stream players on the Sunday night. Joel Hofer at just 6% rostered, a very, very good goalie this season, like one of the best in the league in terms of backups. Has a game and a back-to-back against Anaheim, the 30th best goal-scoring team in the league, so they should be heavy favorites, about minus 160 and better. And Hofer's been strong this season, so it's a good matchup for him on Sunday night. Now, Laurent Brossoit is kind of in the same category as Jonathan Quick to me. I don't know if Hellebuck's going to get all 4 starts this week, with the Jets in a very comfortable position to make playoffs, and they have some really easy matchups. They face Anaheim on the 15th and Columbus on the 17th. So my assumption is that they might split 2-2 this week. Brossoit's been very good. Hellebuck's been pretty good. So I think with Brossoit this week, similar to Quick, if you can't get to Quick, I would likely look to add him. In category leagues, he's a very interesting goalie because of how good the Jets' defense is. But this is how I'm playing it this week. Definitely keep an eye each and every night for goalies to stream. If you have any questions on streaming and how to stream properly and kind of what my strategies are, leave a comment in the comment section below. And for next week, I'm definitely going to be trying to break this down a little bit more going into playoffs. That will do it for the Week 22 preview and players to stream video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video.